On this Aloha Friday, we get to talk story with the Nā Hōkū Hanohano Award winner, someone who has worked continuously in the Hawaiian community and is part of a short film that is nominated or was nominated this year for a Oscar for the Academy Awards. It is Hinaleimoana Wong. Hi, sister.
Aloha, brother. Mahalo, mahalo.
Nice to have you on the show. Congratulations, first of all. It's been so long since we've seen each other in person. I haven't had a chance to tell you, other than text message, congratulations.
Mahalo.
Um,
Mahalo.
with so much of the music that has been inspired by the Mauna and by your efforts in composing and the music, and now we get to move to another different medium. How did Kapaemahu 2020 animated Hawaiian short film, how did this come about?
This was actually quite some journey. I first came to know about these stones after not knowing about them my entire growing up during my time at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. And by the time I get to working for Keolamamo, the Native Hawaiian health care system here on Oahu, I this was in the late 90s, and we spoke about them because we had to teach people how to understand our Kanaka concept of being between Kane and Wahine, and that term is Mahu, and Kapaemahu and its history tells us that understanding. And fast forward, you know, we spoke about it again in another film called Ke Kulanahe Mahu, of which myself and some of my friends were a part of. In 2011, I meet Dean Hamer and Joe Wilson, and they felt that my life was interesting, and they wanted to follow me around to do a documentary film, which eventually became known as Kumu Hina. And part of the journey in teaching them how to understand Kanaka worldview about being somewhere in the middle, I spoke to them about this understanding and the word Mahu. So the story of Kapaemahu arises yet again. And we put that on the back burner, but we ended up doing our homework on it as best we could. And we decided that it was going to become one of our projects. And so we chose to not only do an 8-minute animation, but we're also working on completion of the 1 hour plus full length documentary film.
Wow. Okay, so you've been busy. And not only that, but this has also made the rounds of film festivals and gotten high regards and awards as well from like the Tribeca Film Festival and other places. Your thoughts on the reception that this has received?
I am always humbled and greatly honored by any commendation, any recognition, and any award that we may receive towards not only this project, Kapaemahu, but any other project. Um, However, for me, it's important to always not only remind myself, but to say outright that all of those kinds of awards and good things that come towards our projects are only important because it would help to uplift Hawaii, the name of our islands, our people, and the honor, the dignity, and the respect of our Kanaka.
When somebody sees this, what are you hoping that they walk away with? What are you hoping that they leave the story thinking or feeling?
I want people to come to know this story, Kapaemahu, and not necessarily try to make some great pilgrimage to the stones, unless, of course, their their journey and their destiny have it that they are here on this island of Oahu. I want them to think about, well, what are the understandings? And that is that here in Hawaii, we have a very prominent story in our history. It speaks of four legendary healers that came from Kahiki, the lands to the south, the ancestral homelands of our Kanaka. And that the special thing about these healers is that they occupied a place in the middle. And the description of them, as we rendered it in our animation, speaks to the duality of their nature. And I want people to know that we Kanaka and we Polynesian Pacific Island people, we have an understanding about this place in the middle that we occupy. And it is often a place of great respect. It is a place of great responsibility. And in the story, the responsibility of the healers was to bring not only the knowledge and the skill that they brought with them, but to also impart with the people. And they did that through the stones. They left their legacy for the people to always know the things that they brought with them. And that this story and so many other stories in our history need to be told. We sometimes don't realize that the things we learn in the current education system, they teach us how to embrace a foreign history and a foreign culture, and little to no credence is given to what's important to us Kanaka, to us as Hawaiians. And I hope that this will not only spark conversations, but for any other storytellers out there, I hope that they will stand up and start to tell our stories as well.
I see. Not that many people know, or the people that are hearing about this firsthand don't know exactly where these boulders are located down in Waikīkī. Can you kind of describe?
Yes, these four legendary stones are there between the Duke Kahanamoku statue and the small police station that is located next to the Moana Hotel. The Moana Hotel being the oldest hotel in Waikiki. And if you're walking in that area, you will notice behind an iron fence that there are the four stones that are dedicated to Kapaemahu Ma, and that's where they are.
You have been involved with so many different things culturally, chant, music, film, not only with film as in, I lack of a better term, real film as in filming of people, but also in this one with animation. Is there anything else that's also on your radar to also tackle that you want to see, or stories that you want to tell?
Very much so. We are not only finishing up our full-length documentary film on Kapaemahu, we're also slated to have the Kapaemahu animated version as the feature exhibit and accompanying exhibit material at the Bishop Museum, and that should be up in at least another year or so. We are still working with the Bishop Museum to make sure that all of the work that's necessary prior to having a full exhibit, we need to make sure that that's done. We're also working on another short animated film called Kapaemahu, and it is but one of the stories in the saga of Pele and Kamapua'a. And if you know the name Kohelepelepe, for what foreigners call Coco Head Crater nowadays, we tell the story of how Kapo helps her sister escape the clutches of Kamapua'a and his incessant not only search but lusting after Pele. So we're telling this story, and I have to say that any and all of the stories that we tell, as we Kanaka know, there is a saying, "A'ohe pau ka ike I ka halau ho'okahi." Not all knowledge is found in one halau or one school. And so there are many, often there are many renderings or many articulations of, could be one story or it could be connected theme stories. And so, depending on where you're from and depending on your tradition, that will determine the story that you tell. Um, and last but not least, we are looking at our future projects, and I'd really like to explore the possibility of using animation to tell our stories of Ku Kane Lono Kanaloa, Hina, Haumea, Pele, and to bring those stories to life. So we're going to sit back at the drawing board and talk about who and what stories we're going to feature first.
Is there any reason why you're deciding on animation? Is it easier to do it in animation, or does it open up the person to taking in the story, or what part of animation interests you that you'd like to put these stories to?
We come from an oral history. So our Waha to the Pepeyao. And when we're actually face to face with a storyteller, the storyteller can use their eyes, use their eyebrows, their facial expressions, their body, their entire body, and their body language are part and parcel of telling the story. And when you don't have that, you almost have to think of a different way to bring things to life. And animation is exactly that. That's what animation means, to make something come alive. And I'll point out in Kapaemahu, we were able to tell the history of Hawaii. Well, at least the point that I wanted to focus on, we were able to tell it in 2-3 seconds. And it's the part where the Western ship approaches the shore of Waikīkī, and streaming overhead is the Hawaiian flag, and a second later streams the American flag. And in that short window, we were able to tell of the Kanaka loss of political identity and power. We were able to tell the coming of foreigners. We were able to tell so many things that are revealed in pages and pages or screens and screens of Hawaiian history, all in 2 or 3 seconds.
Wow. Okay, I have a picture. I've got it. That's going to be interesting to see you tell more stories in this very visual and, of course, audio realm. Once again, Kumu Hinaleimoana Wong-Kalu. What is the title? Is it director, co-director, producer?
I believe
For you?
um, for this film, it was co-producer and co-director. But I'm really not one to want a title. Oftentimes, I meet people in the community, and they are respectful and courteous, and they afford me that honor of being called Kumu Hina. And I accept that because that's what's helped to elevate my voice. But there are many days where I just prefer to be Hinaleimoana.
In that case, I'll just put it this way. We have been talking story with with a person who tells the stories of our people through a unique lens and continues to do so in various genre. And we appreciate not only the time, but the efforts on behalf of our people that you do your art form and your continuous work.
Mahalo. Mahalo nui.
Hinaleimoana Wong. Nice round of applause for her. Sister,
Mahalo. Mahalo.
take care. Love you lots. Hope to see you in person soon.
Mahalo. Hope to see you soon too, brother.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Bye. I took her out. Oi. I'm supposed to hit the fade button, not the release button. Ah.